Federal Executive Council approves national blockchain policy. U.S. Federal Reserve raises rates, opens door to pause tightening circle. European Union to blacklist corrupt individuals worldwide, freeze their assets. Plus, oil prices recover after a 3-day plunge. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Benny Adams, your guide. Good to have you join us. It's time to talk business. The Federal Executive Council has approved the national blockchain policy for Nigeria, which will further qualify Nigeria to be among the frontline countries in the digital economy. The Ministry of Aviation is to continue advancing the sector as more funds were approved for its projects. Among them is approval to purchase 5 units of firefighting vehicles for the nation's airports. Jide Onifade reports on these and other approvals by the Federal Executive Council at its meeting this Wednesday.
We have joined them and we are being proactive to ensure that with the policy we will increase our talent development, also discover our young innovators, give them all the necessary support they need as provided by Nigeria Startup Act 2022, and also ensure the adoption of the technology, particularly as we know blockchain technology ensures about information integrity or data integrity.
The Ministry of Transportation is in public-private arrangements, and one of those concerns the prevention and cleaning up of the marine environment. And this is in line with the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, which was established to, among others, prevent the pollution of the marine environment.
The establishment and the renewal of MAPOL port reception facilities for the disposal of ship-generated waste and cargo residues at the Lekki Deep Sea Port that has commenced operations, the Dangote Refinery and the Dangote Jetty, as well as the 5 pilotage districts of Lagos, Port Harcourt, One, Calabar, and Warri.
The Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation brought before the Council the National Technology Action Plan for Climate Change Mitigation and Adaptation in Nigeria's most vulnerable sectors. Minister Olorunimbe Mamora says the nation, like all other countries, is concerned, and an important step to this is to leverage on technology.
So one of the very first things that we had to do in our institution was to set up a committee that will look into our technology needs to meet up with those processes to achieve mitigation and adaptation. And that's exactly what we did. So we now have a plan of action in place, which we presented to the Council.
President Muhammadu Buhari presided over the meeting. In the State House, Jide Onifade.
Imagine keeping all of your valuable belongings in your home, then hiding the key under the front doormat when you go away on vacation. Doing the bare minimum to protect your assets will likely be unthinkable. And similarly, leaving your business data vulnerable to theft, it should be just as unthinkable. You need to do everything you can to protect all of the above. And so on Business Express this morning, our conversation will center on how the increasing cost of cyber security has created a growing need for cyber insurance to limit exposure and liabilities of businesses. Our guest is Ekerete Olagamiko. He is a management consultant with specialization in strategy and insurance. He joins us virtually. Mr. Ekerete, good to have you on Business Express.
Thank you so much, John. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a while. Good. To start with, first things first, what is cyber insurance and why is it this important at this point in time?
Okay, cyber insurance is a specialty kind of insurance that addresses the risk that individuals and organizations face while doing business on the cyberspace. I mean, the cyberspace. Of course, we know there is cyber security. However, we also know that there are issues around hackers and the cyber criminals attacking data. So it's all important to know that there is cyber insurance to take care of the recovery management process when your business data or your private data has been compromised. So what cyber insurance basically does is provide that, like every other insurance, to make it easier for people to understand, provide that compensation when that happens to you, when you experience damage or loss. And why is it important? We have in Nigeria today over 190 million mobile device connections, according to a recent report. And we also have over 36 million Nigerians on the social media platforms. And then when you look at how many Nigerians are also, involved trying to become digitized, you can just imagine the number. So all of it, and we all need the protection. And when that protection is breached, we then need insurance to compensate us one way or the other.
Okay. Yes, no doubt a lot of businesses have gone on the cyberspace, talking about e-transactions, e-commerce, since the advent of COVID-19 and its aftermath. Yes, we are having a lot of those businesses, like you said, 190 million connections on the cyberspace. That's what is obtainable now with over, more than 36 million users. But then, talking about insurance in this highly vulnerable space, we understand in the normal space, talking about the physical space, the physical market space, paying compensation has been a very big issue for insurance companies. Now that we are going to a much more vulnerable space, how is the insurance space managing that, or hopes to manage that when issues of compensations arise?
Okay, so what's going on currently is that in Nigeria, the insurance companies are just beginning to study the experience with cyber insurance. So it's at this point we're talking about creating awareness, we're talking about understanding how it works, we're talking about beginning to see how underwrite the risk here in Nigeria because of the need to keep the data of Nigerians in Nigeria. So when we talk about if there is compensation when something happens, of course it's treated in the manner that is based on the agreements that have been put in place. And let me explain what I mean by that. The business itself has to be able to meet certain conditions that will make insurance provide insurance coverage in terms of cyber insurance. You would not say because you have insurance, you now decide not to do certain things about using cybersecurity to protect your business. So in one sense, cyber insurance comes after all your cybersecurity tools have been put in place to ensure that your business is secured against, cyber attacks. So the insurance company will come and look at the environment that you have created and be able to now agree with you on what kind of risk, should you be covered for. And it's the kind of risk that you are covered for that you'll be compensated for when something goes wrong. And let me speak a bit about the issues of compensation when you talk about what we have experienced. A lot has been said about insurance companies not paying claims and all of that. It's something that you and I have discussed in the past, and lots of work has been done. And by the release of the results of the 2022 figures for insurance performance, we have seen that a lot of improvements has happened in that regard. People have become more aware. People have become more, compensated. And we just need to begin to talk about the fact that if the insurance industry can pay over 300 billion naira for claims, who are they paying these claims to? Businesses and individuals. So there's been a lot of improvements in that regard, and we're happy with what the National Insurance Commission is also doing in that regard to get insurance companies to actually come out and pay claims, and they've also started announcing names of insurance companies that are owing claims so that the public will know. So a lot of work is being done in that area, and I do believe it's the same stream that we'll go into, because cyber insurance doesn't wait. You can provide cover this minute and then the next thing is an attack. So you cannot afford to not have a very solid compensation structure in place. Thanks.
Okay, while players in insurance are trying to understand the way cyber insurance should work, there are these issues of legal frameworks in protecting data online, talking about cyber security. Yes, we've had efforts from the Ministry of Communications. We're also having a data protection bureau, which is actually doing much, but is looking forward to having an act so that to strengthen its operations. With all these legal frameworks hanging, what are the challenges in ensuring that this cyber insurance thing kicks off as soon as possible?
Okay, so what it is that the technology regulator NIDA is in front of the issue that has to do with the providing the legal framework, and I'm aware also that NCC has started work with the National Insurance Commission in the past to provide, the framework for the internet governance in respect of what they do. And so these regulators are collaborating and working together. I'm privy to that because I'm also involved in some of these processes. So a lot of work is being done to ensure that the legal framework is put in place. And of course, the National Insurance Commission as the insurance regulator will drive that process for insurance companies. And when it comes to other stakeholders, I do believe that the financial regulators and all of the other regulators led by NIDA will then be able to put a framework in place that we will all be connected to. You do know that the banks, for example, face the highest risk when it comes to cyber attacks. And indeed, we need to say the truth to ourselves, as reported in an international bulletin, that Nigerian organizations have actually been suffered from cyber attacks, even if we won't concede it. But these things are happening and they are real, and it's time for us to, look beyond the cyber security that we are putting in place and see how we can get compensation for this thing that happened. And that's where cyber insurance kicks in.
Okay,
Thanks.
now understanding the urgency of now, which is to get this thing and get it going. Who needs this cyber insurance, and possibly if we're talking about coverage, who is covered, who shouldn't be covered? Yet I understand it's something that is in the process, but can you take us through what it should be?
Okay, so the truth is that we are all connected to the internet, and the moment you are connected to the internet, you are exposed to cyber attacks. And it could be an organization, it could be an individual. Very soon you will find out that your phone has been, your data has been compromised, even on the device that you are holding. That's why there are verifications that are done. But some people don't know how to use those verifications, which is why I spoke earlier about some organizations that have to put in place, cyber security tasks that will ensure that you are ready to get protection from insurance. Because insurance will not just come and say, okay, you are doing your business, you are exposed to cyber attacks, we will insure. No, you have to put those things in place. And we are concerned so much about the small businesses also, the small and medium enterprises, because they are the ones that may not have the capacity to put the cyber security in place. Meanwhile, they are the ones that do a lot of business that involves the higher population of Nigerians that share their data, financial data, health data, and all of that. So we are all exposed and we all need it. So which is why we are saying, I'm saying, that government needs to do a lot more to create awareness and let people know that this thing is real, it's coming, and it's happening already. That has not affected you does not mean you will not be affected. So it's the urgency that we talk about. It's in the area of awareness, it's in the area of building capacity and making sure that the legal framework is in place to ensure that cyber insurance is then able to come in and provide the protection that insurance will usually provide, and give you the peace of mind to use your device without any fear of anything going wrong. Of course, you know that when something goes wrong, you will be compensated. Thanks.
Wow, I can agree. Less is good to prepare ahead. Thank you so very much, Ikerite Olagamikon, for your contribution at this point in time.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Good. Moving on. Governance is a continuum. It is a good thing that this continuum at the federal level is of like minds. So as President Muhammadu Buhari formally unveils and launches the next long-term development plan for Nigeria, the Nigeria Agenda 2050, for implementation, it is believed the plan is landing in safe hands. The launch of the document took place on the sideline of the Federal Executive Council meeting at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Jide Olifade reports.
This note, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor and privilege to formally unveil and launch the next long-term development plan for Nigeria, the Nigeria Agenda 2050 for implementation. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the unveiling and public presentation of the Nigeria Agenda 2050 marks yet another milestone in the annals of history of the nation's planning experience post-independence.
It has also shown our administration's commitment to planning and plan implementation since we assumed office on May 29, 2015. The plan we are launching today is the vision of a dynamic, industrialized, and knowledge-based economy that generates inclusive and sustainable development for the country.
The President, on December 22, 2021, launched the first National Development Plan 2021 to 2025 that would be used to implement the long-term plan. Council on March 15, 2023, approved the Nigeria Agenda 2050 that is being launched now by the President.
The broad target is to ensure that Nigeria attains a per capita GDP of 33,383 in 28 United States dollars per annum, which will place her among the top middle-income economies in the world by 2050.
The President applauds the steering committee led by the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, for delivering on the important national assignment. At the State House, Jude Onifade.
The Mining Cadastral Office in the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development is taking steps to boost revenue generation and be a key player in the federal government diversification program. Director of the Mining Cadastral Office, Obadiah Simon Nkom, reminded stakeholders and staff of the task of a retreat in Abuja, focusing on core mandates of the office, anti-corruption and a due process.
We are very much aware that in the course of diversification, the mining sector has been identified as one of such. And because of that, over the years, the mining cadastre, in terms of productivity, in terms of revenue generation, from 2019 to date, has been able to unrelentlessly ensure that they break the previous year's records of revenue generation.
MCO could be a channel of espionage. Of course, you know that the people that come to seek licenses, a lot of them are expatriate companies, and they could just be using you to advance their espionage goals.
If those are promoting process, especially for government, following the rules. It's always tempting not to follow the rules of government, but as a public servant, you don't want ICPC, you don't want AFCC invitation, follow the rules of government. It may appear cumbersome, it may appear delaying the process, but just try and follow the process.
As major revenue generating agency in the Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, the Director General promised not to spare any effort in ending illegal acquisition of mining licenses and revoke dormant ones. And now oil prices recover slightly this Thursday, but were unable to claw back the more than 9% decline in the previous 3 days as demand concerns measure consumers' overrode signals that the U.S. may pause its interest rate increases. Brent futures rose 17 cents to $72.50 a barrel in early deals, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude CLC1 rose 2 cents to $68.62 a barrel. Let's now see how much other commodities are trading in the global market. While we look at equities trading for today, which will come at the end of the day, we remind you that Nigeria's equities market decreased further by 0.17% as investors lost 48 billion naira in midweek trade. At the end of the day's trading, a total of 670.08 million shares in 6,254 deals, corresponding to a market value of 5.02 billion naira were traded. Compared with Tuesday's trading, the Wednesday's data further showed 60% improvement in volume and 6% improvement in turnover. The market capitalization was 28.4 trillion naira. Transcorp Nigeria recorded highest volume of traded shares, followed by Access Bank and Fidelity Bank. Now, European market is set to lose steam ahead of European Central Bank rate decision. Dr. Abel has updates on the global market.
The European Central Bank ECB is widely expected to raise interest rates yet again as the central bank tries to tame inflation in the Eurozone. Most market watchers expect a 25 basis point hike, although a larger hike has not been ruled out given the inflation data released earlier this week. This Thursday morning, European markets are heading for a negative open as investors digested the latest rate hike by the US Federal Reserve and look ahead to the European Central Bank's next monetary policy decision. US S&P 500 futures fell after the Federal Reserve hike rates by another 25 basis points, and investors' fear of contagion in the region bank space returned. Futures linked to the broad market index slipped 0.2%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped 88 points or 0.2%, and the Nasdaq 100 futures traded near the flat line up 0.06%. Asian markets were mixed after the US Federal Reserve hike rates by 25 basis points, as widely expected, bringing the federal fund rate range to 5%, its highest level since August 2007. Meanwhile, in mainland Chinese markets, stocks fell after returning from Labor Day. The Shenzhen Composite slid 0.65%, the Shanghai Composite climbed 0.69%, and the Hong Kong Hang Seng Index also gained 0.98%. For Africa, the markets opened mostly negative. South Africa's JSA Africa Top 40 and Namibia's overall index opened red this Thursday morning, while new figures are expected from other markets. Bosede Ebo, Business Express.
Thank you, Bosede, and that wraps Business Express for now. Remember to send in your comments, observations, and suggestions. Also be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on NTA's channel. Business Express returns tomorrow at 3 p.m.